Okay, so
Okay.
Dad, today is November the 27th, 2002, and we're gonna,
2002,
and
and
we're,
we start from when I was born. I was born in 1919.
look at the camera, you could look at the camera, yeah? Not at me, if you look at the
Yeah.
camera, yeah?
In a shtetl called Dokshitz. Dokshitz is about 150 kilometers southeast of Vilna. And my parents, they were living in this shtetl. You know, to make a living at that time was very hard, as they were moving around. They moved from Dokshitz to Gomboke when I was young, you know.
How far away was that?
Gomboke, 30 kilometers. And they were living in Gomboke for a couple of years. Soon after, they moved back to Dokshitz. And about 14 kilometers from Dokshitz, there was a village called Jejen. And in the Jejen opened up a grocery store. And then when they had already the grocery store, they were making a living, you know, and I supposed to go to school. Is at that time, you know, 14 kilometers was driving by horses, was far. You know, it's not like now. I have a car, you know, you could move 14 kilometers very quickly. I was staying by my grandfather, who you call Zaidi. His name was Zalman. I was staying there. I was going to school in the Dokshitz, you know, and it was nice. I went to a Hebrew school, and after I went to a Polish school. We went through these years, and my father got ill in 1939, and he passed away. My father in 1939.
What was wrong what did he die from?
I don't remember what he was, but he passed away in 1939. And my mother worked on my two brothers, older brother Jankel and the other brother Yidl. You know, and Jankel, he was 9 years older than me, and Yidl was 8 years older than me. And Jankel, he opened up in the Dokshitz. Still, when my father was alive, you know, he opened up a store from whiskey in about 14 kilometers from Dokshitz in the village named Tamilovich. And whiskey was a very important thing because not everybody could get a license for whiskey, but he knew some people in the government, you know, and he got a license and he opened up the store, and he was very well up, you know. And Yidl was dealing, you know, when I was going in school in Dokshitz, and that went through the 30s. After when came 39, the Russians came in Poland. They told you know, they got freed the people from the Polish, you know, and I went to school in Białystok. Białystok was a school, a business school.
How old were you?
20 years old. It was in 1939, 20 years, yeah. And it was a business school, and I was there. Afterwards, they already was getting ready for war because they knew that the Germans are preparing. Before, as been the Germans, when the Russians came into us, the Germans came in too, but they stopped by the by the, how you call that, a Thai place, a river, the river Wisła. The Germans stopped there, and the Russians came in there, and they were good, like they helped
good
each
relation.
other.
They
before.
did.
Yeah.
They had good relationship.
Yeah. They didn't expect that the Germans will start to go further, after. And I was in Białystok, and after when they start ready, they took me to the army. And
Well, how did they take you? Did you apply? Did you?
Huh?
They just took you?
No, by train.
No, but did you apply to go? Did you ask to go, or?
No, my time came to them because
You were drafted.
Drafted, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Came to the army, and I was in the Russian army for. And the Germans already. They started the war, and the Germans. We were staying near Kharkov, Chuguyev, and they were going ahead, and the Russians were not too far from us. Anyway, but I was from Poland, and the Russians didn't trust the Polish people to fight in the Russian army. They took us out.
Thank God.
Yeah, they took us out, and they sent us to Ural. We went by train to Ural, came to Ural. And after in Ural, we came all together, was maybe a couple thousand people, and everybody was, after they came out, and we were weighing down on the field, and they were asking who wants to be a carpenter, who wants to be this, and I didn't say nothing, but after in the end, they somehow, they made me to be the manager of the supply of the food, and we got a place there, and we had already a truck, and there was like a camp where people were working, and was a kitchen, and I used to supply with food in the kitchen and to the people, and that's when I was already not hungry, And this way was we were living for 1940, 41, 42, 43, the war was going on, but we knew about the war, but we didn't know what's going on, that they are killing of the Jewish people.
You had no idea what was going on in the town.
Nobody was talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
They
you
were
never.
talking about.
Did you ever see your mom there during those? Did you ever see your family during those years you were in the army?
No.
For 4 years, you didn't see anybody.
Nobody.
And you had no correspondence about them either.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. And after in 19, when the war finished in 1930, in 1941, 41 I think it was.
When it finished?
Yeah.
Not in
The war started in 1939, and 1940, 41, 42, 43. 43 finished the war. When I was still in there on Ural, but I found it out that my mother is alive. Because, I asked permission, they give me a...
Wait, back up a bit. After the war, you heard already that they killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
You heard, and you didn't know what happened to your family.
No.
How did you find out?
Somehow I got a letter. I don't remember from whom, that my mother is alive. My mother is alive. I went to the to the head office or to the. When I told them, and I asked them for a permission to go, and they gave it to me, because I had already good relationship with a lot of people, because I was a supplier of food. Is they give me one. I went to see my mother. I came to see in Varpaeva.
Before you, excuse me, before you get to that, weren't you put in jail and stuff? Weren't you in jail during when you were in the? There's a story. Tell us the story about that.
Yeah, when I was supplying with the food, is one time they made like they made a balance. What do you call this?
A cheshbon?
No, like they counted end of the month how much food, But before that, because in Russia was a lot of spies, and you couldn't trust nobody, to whom you are talking, because you talk with him, you can be the best friend, and after he goes to the authority and say, oh, he was talking that, he was talking that. There was from the Communist Party an officer, and he called me in one time. He called me in, and he asked me what people are talking, because you have food, you supply with food, people are coming to you, what are they talking, I say to him, nobody talks to me nothing, because other people coming, when they see people are there, they don't talk to me.
Was that true? Was it true?
After he says to me, yeah, but something they are talking. I say, listen, they never talk to me. And my father never was giving what somebody talks, or I'm not going to give, I don't know nothing. He said, okay, go home. Go home is when one time, when I was in the supplying the food, everything is, they made inventory. Made inventory on the meat, was a little bit short. Why was short meat? Because, meat, you have to always scale, before and after, because it's losing weight automatically. And you have to make a discount, Because we didn't do is, they was short, they put me in for a couple of days in jail. And this guy, what he called me up, from the Politburo, what he called me and asked me, he told to let me out because he's an honest guy. That's what was. And after when the war already was finished, and when I found it out about the mother, I got a letter from somebody I know that the mother is alive. Yes, I took, off. I asked him to take off for a couple of weeks or for a month. When I went to Varpaeva, when I came to Varpaeva, I found my mother, I found Beverly, Beru and Miro, they were together, in the same house. And I was so crazy at that time, I'm not supposed to go back, but I was loyal to these people where they let me go. When I came back, I came back, and by the time I came back already, they were liquidated, everything. When I was no more a supplier, but they give me other things to do, not hard work. And after a couple months, I asked him again to go back, to see the mother. And when they give me this time back, I didn't go back already. I stayed here. And I stayed there with my mom. And
when did you find out about your brothers?
About the brothers, I found out when I came home, when I saw my mother,
So, and what happened with your brother? So, where were your brothers during the war? What did they do?
My brother, one was married in Ilya, town Ilya.
Were you Jankel?
Jankel, yeah, and he got killed in the ghetto in Ilya.
He was married to Brina?
No, he was married to, I forgot his wife.
Did they have children?
They had a baby, yeah.
Did you know they were married before?
Oh,
like, were they married?
Wedding.
Oh, they were married before you went to the army?
Before the army, it still was,
so what happened to the wife and the baby?
Everybody got killed because that's why Jankel was away from the ghetto. When they liquidated the ghetto, they told him that the ghetto gets liquidated. He went himself. They told him if he wouldn't go, maybe he would go to the woods. But the family he went to them. He got killed.
Wait, he went back to the family?
Yeah. He was out of the ghetto at that time when they were liquidating the ghetto.
Right.
And he got the news
that they were going to.
They are getting.
So he went back home.
Yes, he went back home. And if he wouldn't go home, he would be maybe alive. You never know. Yes. See?
Well, so do you know what happened to them?
They got killed.
But when? Like, did they go to the camps or did they?
In the camp, like in Ilya. They, it's in 1940. 40, 41, I guess. On Yidl, he got to partisans after,
When did he go to the partisans?
In 1940, 41.
Right.
As soon as he was hiding, I got to partisans. Brina was with my mother in the woods. Actually, my mother, she was in Dokshitz on an attic. You know what is attic?
Yeah.
Hiding in an attic.
In where? In whose house? In her own house?
Yeah, in Toronto, in Dokshitz.
In her own house?
Yeah. In the 30th.
So wait,
we got married in the 30th.
In 1930.
I don't. Exactly.
You don't know which one. Okay, so you got married and.
He got married.
Who earlier got married? Yidl or
Jankel got married first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the whiskey.
Go ahead.
When he.
Okay, go ahead. So he got married.
When he got married, he moved. He moved to Ilya.
Okay.
Because he took a wife from Ilya. He only had a baby, really, And
yeah.
And there where he was in ghetto in Ilya. He got killed in Ilya. He was in Yidl.
Okay, so Jankel got married and moved to. Okay.
To
and he lived there, but where was he when you said he was away from town when they told them it was going to be liquidated?
He was away from Ilya.
And
I don't know what he went away,
Okay.
But they told him that the ghetto gets liquidated. He went back to the ghetto instead to go away, so
right.
went back to the ghetto and he got killed, When Yidl was in, he was in partisans, and Brina, was with my mother. My mother was an attic in Dokshitz, And he took Brina for a hand, and she left Dokshitz and they went to the bushes.
Your mother?
My mother, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were all...
Did they have children?
Huh?
Did they have children?
They had one baby, but they got killed, by the Germans when he was small.
How?
He was 8 months old.
Where was Brina?
Brina was in the house. Brina went out from the house. When the Germans came in, Brina went out of the house, and the baby was in the carriage or in what it was. And they took the baby and they knocked against the wall and got killed. what was it? Yeah, my mother went with Braina to the woods because Yidl was already in partisans. He came, and he told the two partisans would go. The mother took Braina over her hand, and they went out and they went to the woods. And Yidl was fighting the partisans all the years till end of the war. The end of the war was 1943 or 1943, I think. Yeah, 1943. Anyway, he got killed 1 month before the end of the war. He was sick, and I guess he couldn't get around too much, He got surrounded by the Germans, He got killed. And my mother came out, and after they were all in...
Who was she hiding with in the forest?
Hmm?
Who was she hiding with?
Who was hiding? Like in the bushes.
With who? Like, was Beryl there, or?
No, Beryl wasn't
he was
there.
with my...
Huh?
He was with Zaidi Irme.
No, it's nothing to do with Irma. No, it's nothing to do. She was in bushes, like different, she know people, from one. By the way, my brother, Yidl, he came one time because, the people from the villages, he came one time to a village, and he wants to have food. And he knows these people because we were living with them together in the same village, And he says to him, okay, come tomorrow, and I will make ready for you food, and you'll pick it up. Anyway, he came tomorrow. There was no food on the place, but was ducks. A duck was on the. That's why after when he was in the partisans, and he got ammunition. He came to the village and killed him. This guy. But my brother, he was all the years in the partisan during the war till a month before end of the war. Before end of the war, he got killed, And that is still end of the war. And after end of the war, I found it out that my mother's wife, which I already said, is I came there, and I saw the mother, and she was happy to see me. And after I know I was left here with Beryl, because it was in Varpaiva with Beryl. When I went back, and I was there still for a couple months, and I went back to the head office, and I told them that my mother is here. I want to go see her.
You went back where?
Back to the office in...
To the Russian army?
Huh?
To the army?
No, not in the army. It was in Sverdlovsk, Ural. And I went back there, and I got there a permission again to go for a month or what. And but this time I was smarter, and I didn't go back. We stayed in Varpaiva for a while till we moved to Poland, Berlybke and Miro, and who's Berlybke, Albert's father.
Right.
Yeah, when we moved to Poland, and from Poland we moved to Berlin. When in Berlin was the camp, the Jewish camp.
The DP camp.
Huh?
The DP camp.
The DP camp, yeah. We were there Berlybke on the mother. No, we stayed there, and Berlybke became a secretary there, and was right. And when I used to deal in viewing, in Berlin.
With what? What did you do?
What we do? We had a truck, and we used to go to München. We were buying leather in München, when it was the border. we used to go to the border. We came to Berlin. We used to sell the water in Berlin. And from Berlin, we used to bring different things. We used to go and then back.
Who's we?
Huh?
You and Harry?
Yeah, Harry.
How did you meet Harry?
That's what we met there in Berlin. Harry and Salik and Avremo, we met them there.
Avremel who?
Avremo is their brother.
Ah.
Yeah. Noon, after we came, we moved, me and my mother, we moved. We didn't move, but they moved the whole camp from Berlin. They moved to Munich. We winded up to stay in Eschwege, and after we got moving around here and there, because we were free. And in 1948, I came to see the Swabians.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Why? Because there was a man from Dokshitz. He says, "You want to get married to me?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "I'm going to talk to."
And you knew the Slavans?
Huh?
You knew them?
I knew for sure. I knew the.
How did you know them?
I didn't know him, but I knew his father.
Because his father was from Dokshitz?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, we came out with Mama and we says, "You want to get married?" We says, "Okay."
Wait, you met her once and you decided to get married?
Once we went to the house. We went one time, and after we went to the house, we got married in 1948. It's fast.
And then you
my
moved?
mother was at the wedding, And after we decided we'll move to France, to Paris, because Berwebke was already in France. Berwebke
Why did he go to France?
Huh?
Why did Berlepke go to France?
Because Berwebke was there.
Why did Berlepke go there?
Oh, why did he go? Because he went there. I guess he had the cousins there, and he's already settled down in Paris. And I thought, okay, I will move to. Anyway, we came to Paris. We stayed a while. We didn't like it. Mommy went back right away because her parents, Irma was there in Munich. She went back, And when I already had machinery, I bought machinery in Leipzig. I want to open up a factory from making sweaters, But when you come to France, you cannot open up on your name because you have to be a citizen. And to become a citizen takes 10 years at that time. I know how it's now. To begin with, you have to make in somebody else's name, and I decided that's no good. We sold the machinery, what I brought there, and we came back to Paris, to Germany. And came back to Germany after the Swabians, they moved before us to United States. And they tried to get us to United States because you have to have, I guess, work, and you have to have Anyway, they didn't want us in the United States. Why they didn't want us in? Because I told them something, they asked me a question, and I told them now the right thing. Yes, I didn't tell them the truth about they didn't want us in. She went to Toronto and she made us papers for Canada, and we came to Toronto. When after the United States want to let us in, I say it's too late.
Thank goodness.
Huh?
Yeah, good.
That's right.
Okay.
And this is the whole thing.
Now, how about going back to when you were a little kid and
In Dokshitz.
Yeah.
What did your parents do? They had a store, you said?
Yeah, they had a store in the village in Jeju. My brother had a store for whiskey because I was Jankel and me is difference 9 years.
Uh-huh.
You see, the store is they had a store, and I was by my grandfather
And why were you by your grandfather?
because I have to go to school.
Oh, that's why. Uh-huh.
I have to go to school on 14 kilometers. Now maybe you would take a car and you would drive in every day.
So you didn't live with your parents. How long were you away from them?
How long? Away? You know, maybe not too long. 2 years, 3 years. You know.
You were away from them for 3 years?
That's me. I used to come.
You used to go back and forth.
Back and forth, but I stay by my.
Uh-huh.
I used to come. They used to come here. You know.
Uh-huh. Wasn't that hard to be away from your parents?
No, listen, they were coming over.
Uh-huh.
The grandfather was.
Was he good to live with, your grandfather? Zalman, did you enjoy living with him?
Yeah. Not Zalman. My uncle too.
Uh-huh.
My uncle Shmuel, he was, you know, the Zaidi was.
Is this your father's father?
The father's father.
Where was your mother's father?
He was. I'm named after him.
Uh-huh. Oh, right.
You know, he used to sit, you know, in the center of the. He's supposed to start it first. You know, the parents give, you know, the children like his children, give them respect a lot. You know.
Mm-hmm. So you grew up with you lived with your uncle and your grandfather and your so you lived with your uncle and your grandparents.
Yeah, just when I go to school after the vacations, I come back, you know, and they come to Dokshitz always, you know, because it was not too far, you know, 14 kilometers, but we have to go by horse.
Right.
And by horse, it's we had a store in Jeju, you know, my brother had a store in Tamilwich, you know, like a whiskey store. It was good stuff. And Yidl was wheeling and dealing between the people, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay, so when you came to Canada, so what happened?
When I came to Canada, the first thing what I went to I don't remember, with something to sell milk or what, I don't know. I went to do something and I didn't like it, you know. Oh no, the first thing I went to work in a bakery. I went to work in a bakery right where our store is now, where Kensington. There was a bakery. And he used to fill up with bread and with bagels. And I used to drive around with him. And
when did you learn how to drive?
Huh?
Where did you learn how to drive?
No, I didn't drive. Somebody else.
Oh.
And I used to go with him, but he used to start in the morning, you know. I start in the morning 5 o'clock, you know, till 8. Because I was working for a week or what, and I said to him, "You're making the money, what's good for me," you know. He was paying me $60, $50 a week or something. Anyway, I quit right away. And after we moved to the farm.
Wait, but where did you live? On Beverly Street?
On Beverly Street.
And how did you get to a place on Beverly Street?
Hmm?
How did you get to live there?
How did I get to live there? Because ICO, the UNRWA, they give us where to live in Ural. We came here as, you know, after the war, the Jewish people was in the camps, you know.
And you lived on Beverly Street? Where did you live?
Beverly in the Congress there before. was the Congress, you know. But after we already rented a house on Beverly, not too far, you know, the Rosovs, they give us a house, you know. And after that, I guess we moved to the farm.
Now, how did that happen?
Because Bielek, you know, Sylvester's father, he was living on a farm. And he came much before, and they had already a farm. And he says, why you don't come and rent a farm? Anyway, we rented the farm Hachawutz. We rented when we stayed for a year or what.
When Hachalutz had farms?
Huh?
You rented from Hachalutz?
When we rented from Brompas, you know, they were, you see, they used to, the people who were going to Israel or to Palestine at that time, they were supposed to work on a kibbutz, and that's where they were working, and after they were going, that was the farm. And after that, we rented the farm, and we stayed on the farm, and we had 65 cows, and we had, but the cows, they were breaking the fences, and they were going to the neighbors' fields. We decided we are going to sell the cows, and we bought, we put in chickens and stuff. We were growing hens for eggs, you know. And that's what was, we stayed on the farm for a while, for a year. And after the year, I think for a year I stayed. And Paul and Aaron, they're supposed to go to school already because Paul was born in 1948. You see, he's supposed to go to school. Yes, we sent him to New York, to the grandparents. We sent them to stay there. And William one time comes, he was in Toronto, he comes now, he's asking me, why you have to send those small children, you know? I say, don't worry, they're in good hands. Anyway, they were there. And after a year, that means they went to the yeshiva. But after a year, they have to go to a regular school. Yeah, instead to send them to a regular school, we moved from the farm to Toronto, and we sent them to a Hebrew school.
Right. Yeah. So how long did you live on the farm?
A year.
Just 1 year?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Wait, that's not, Norman was born on the farm.
Hmm?
Norman was born there.
No, nothing of mine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And tell me, back to the army. When you were in the army, you didn't. It wasn't a hard life.
See, I tell you what's happened in the army. When I was in school in the technicum, not for a reason what I believed, but for a reason for convenient. I became what do you call this? Before you step in the party, for the younger generation there was a special anyway
So it's not that you believed in it, but you thought that it would be a good thing for you to do was to
convenient.
It would be good for you to be in the party.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because they trust you more, is when I was in the army, the first thing what they did, I used to give out how many people has to go to eat, how many people has to go to train, how many every day, you know. I used to make up the list. And I didn't have the rifles to go every day. I used to go 3 times a week just for, you know, to learn how to.
To learn how to what?
To learn how to hold a rifle, you know. And that's why it was convenient. That helped me out, you know. And I was very, very good. I was very happy. But
Wait! You when you were in the party?
When I was in the army. But after in the army itself, they didn't trust all the people who are from Poland. And they took us all, and they took us to far Russia. The Hitler, the army from Germany was already 20 kilometers from us. You know, they put us on trains and we went deep to Russia. Just because we are from Poland.
So because they didn't trust you, you were saved.
Huh?
Because they didn't trust you, you didn't have to fight.
For sure.
And when you were in the Technion,
Huh?
you were saying when you were at school,
Yeah.
you decided to join the party?
Yeah, they decided to join not the party, it was
a training.
For young people was
for
before.
Training. And you did it because you thought it would help you?
Yeah, that's not for me because I believe in them, you know, but just because we used to Rosh Hashanah in Kippur, and I used to, there was a Jewish woman who was belonged to the party too, and I used to take her because I had a truck, you know, because I was a supplier. I used to take her and we went to go to the synagogue every Rosh Hashanah in Kippur.
While you were in the army?
Yeah.
While you were in the army?
No, not when in the army. It was when I was in, when I mixed up already a little bit.
Okay.
When I was, you know, the Russian woman. No, when I was in, not in the army, it was after the army already.
Okay, so when Daddy was in Technion, okay, yeah, in the school. So tell me what you said.
It was called Fezeo.
Right.
And he was learning there. And then they broke up the war. In 41 broke out the war in June. And they evacuated the whole school. And they took him in the army.
But he said while he was in school, he joined a training club or a train.
That's the school given.
That's
the school.
That's the school.
Okay, it's a training sort of. It's like a business school training.
No, before the Communist Party, it was the younger people, you know, what do you call this?
Komsomol?
Komsomol, yeah. I was in Komsomol, yeah.
Komsomol is just a political party.
But he said that helped. He said that helped.
That helped him what? To get into the army?
To get what did that help with?
To get, you know, like
a good position.
To supply of the food and this.
To get him a job. The Russians used to start to build the kids already with politics. So up to 15 years, you belong to pioneers, pioneer. Up to 18 or 19, you belong to the Komsomolцы, and then to the Communist Party. It's like a prelude. So he was in the Komsomolцы, you know. So I guess that's what he thinks. He got after a job in the evacuation. He got a job in a place where they gave the Russians rationed food. So he was,
say it in Yiddish.
He worked in a food distribution place.
In the army?
No,
after
that's
that.
already in the evacuation.
Oh, this is already
The army, they drafted him in the army,
right.
but because he was from the West,
Right.
so
They
they didn't
sent
really
him.
trust him. They
Right.
sent him.
When I was in the
And
army,
Ural.
because I was a Komsomol,
Yeah.
That's why you got to do the provisions.
that's what I got the position. I didn't have to go every day training.
But they didn't take you in the army to fight.
No.
Because a lot of from the Western soldiers,
didn't trust
from the
him.
Hebrew came in plan, so
didn't
they
believe
didn't
it, yeah.
trust him.
Okay.
So he was in a vacation on the Ural in wie ist die Stadt, wo du bist gewesen?
Shidduch.
Right. And after the war, you said he was in after the evacuation. Then what happened?
He came to war Emo after the war finished to see who is alive.
Right.
So he found out that his mother was alive. And he found out everything else.
Right.
But he went back because he just had a visit. He didn't understand that he could probably stay here.
Right.
And the war was still going
had
on.
I had, the business, like the food supply.
He had Braun. Braun used to say he was like immune. He didn't have to go to work because he had that position.
Uh-huh.
So he went back. But when the war finished, bist du gekommen noch einmal? And then you stayed.
No, ich bin gekommen, AW noch einmal mich in Brimstein.
Yes, not the war gegangen.
Wait, but you know, there's something I'm missing here.
Yeah, what
I'm missing the part. He's in the army, and in the army you have a good position where you give out the food.
No, in the army he didn't give up nothing.
In the army I didn't get
You know what, the army was
I
maybe
used to-
a week, okay?
Oh, it was a week.
They draft.
So today is, Today's the 11th of December, and I was about to film some more of my parents, but except the battery's dead. So I'm going to have to come back tomorrow. Say hello.
Not too late.
All right, that's it. The battery's dead.